own taxis or that are involved in the taxi industry. Now, I received many calls from inside SAPS, stop posting this, stop posting this. And my argument back was that you've known about it, not you personally. The SAPS members have known about it in the Western Cape specifically for over 20 months, and they did nothing. In fact, while I'm sitting here tonight, I got a message about an anti-gang unit member in Cape Town that a sergeant who is involved in the taxi industry and in the towing industry. Now the reason I mention this is over a 20-month period, we haven't seen action on this. One of the reasons that I've heard is that they would like to see, an entire list built up before they act. But I mean, in 20 months' time, especially with the current spate of gang violence, taxi violence and gang violence, makes it difficult to then see how it could be effectively policed. I'll send a list. I've actually already sent you a letter while we were sitting here today, so another letter. But you'll receive that with an entire list of those members. Now, the reason I start with this, General, is that Lieutenant General Fannie is one of the people that we've been speaking about a lot during this committee. And I asked this to the Acting Minister of Police, Minister Kachalia as well. And I'm going to ask you tonight, why has he not been suspended yet? Why has he not been criminally charged yet? General Fannie is one of the main access routes for Mr. Kat Matlala to have gotten into the SAPS. The irony is, I don't know if the honorable members saw it on Facebook, the day after he'd appeared before this committee, he posted on Facebook and said, he will not be the fall guy. And apart from thinking it's extremely arrogant, I thought that someone that has been investigated by the SIU for alleged corruption while still working in Treasury was still appointed as the head of supply chain in the police and is still comfortably in his position. So that leads me to my first question. In terms of Mr. General Fannie, do you agree that he was centrally placed in the supply chain environment? And what role, according to you, did he play in the Medicare 24 procurement process?
Thanks, Honorable Chair and members. The taxi matter, I heard about it, and we will action it. The same team, my team that is working Eastern Cape, I think they'll come and spend time here, deal with the taxi issues, including our own members. I think that will assist. On General Fannie, Honorable Member, the current forensic investigation, I'm sure it will assist us, because the other processes, we were able to identify some of the members that were involved, put them now on suspension. They are being trialed, but I'm sure the forensic investigation will indicate, because it will tell you that, I think you will, at some point he told you that the process happens somewhere there and is right at the end. Hence, I threw now, or I instituted this property audit before they even can finalize the process. So that matter between us and Treasury, it has been a to and fro. I won't say they send him, but it has been to and fro in terms of who should be disciplining. But as we speak now, we've opened an investigation in terms of disciplinary regulations, and it is on the go.
I want to understand, what role did General Fannie specifically play in allowing Medicare 24 to come into SAPS?
He was a chairperson of the bid adjudication committee. There is a bid specification, bid evaluation, BEC.
Adjudication,
yeah. Eventually, then BAC. So if we read those reports, there is a problem somewhere amongst the members of the bid evaluation. They are pointing that some, not all, some were just there, but they might not have seen whatever wrong is there, but some knew. Okay. And those that knew, we have already dealing with them. But in order to be clear to deal with the entire process, this forensic audit will assist us, but already the investigation is on currently as we speak.
And General, in terms of General Fannie, how do we justify him remaining in his position? I mean, if the people below him, some of them below him have been suspended, etc., possibly criminal proceedings have started, why do we allow a key access point to remain the same, especially with the links to Mr. Matlala?
Well, let's say if you would like to want to finger, it's not only him, it's the whole BAC, which there are about 4 or 5. So that investigation, but for now, the investigation is on him, but one will also look at the others once there's a clear direction in terms of pointing of fingers.
Apologies for interrupting you, General. Have the other people part of the BAC been suspended?
No.
Not?
Including him. It is the body below.
Okay.
The bid evaluation.
You see, I really struggle with this, General, because what I asked General Fannie as well is that apart from other parts of due diligence that needed to be done, for goodness sake, someone like General Fannie in a position that he's in should know when he's dealing with a criminal and when not. It can simply not be that slips through. Now, we asked a lot of these questions in October of 2025. It's now almost, just after mid-March, and we haven't seen any movement. And I heard about the forensic investigation, but from my exposure to forensic investigations, they don't necessarily need to take that long. Now, I asked this same question, quite similar, to General Fannie regarding the failed Medicare 24 procurement process, the flawed process that was allowed to proceed, and the lack of proper due diligence. In light of those answers, I want to continue with 1 or 2 more on the said topic. When Lieutenant General Fannie was questioned on this matter, there were specific shortcomings in the procurement process. I mean, we've seen a lot of the shortcomings. It's been presented before. Weren't those shortcomings enough to suspend and investigate the entire adjudication committee?
Yeah, currently, Honorable Chair, there is this problem that most of the work is done at the evaluation committee, and what is done on the upper level, based on what advice of my risk officer, is that you might suspend and you might end up reinstating, but the best rather, let's see who played which role, which will be now the forensic investigation that will indicate. So instead of one rushing, rather, I think they just say if a month left, then one will take it from there.
Gerard, I think I don't have another question regarding that specific, but I think you understand the frustration. When we look at the taxis, for example, that's why I use it as an example. You know, we go on for such a long amount of time and we don't see movement. I know the next one that I want to touch on is internal audit recommended at the end of January 2025 that the Medicare contract should be stopped. Now, between then and I think another 3 months, another 30 million rand was paid. How does this meet with a process where we take taxpayers' money seriously, where we just continue to pay? Can you speak to us on that?
Yeah. After receiving that report, engaged the report, and I said, we gonna act on it. There was a meeting with the auditors and legal services, and eventually the advice was, this is a preliminary report. What about if you take action now, then the final report comes different? Then we had to wait for the final report. Eventually, after final report, we engage again risk officers and the legal services. And then we came to a decision that we terminate.
General, how can we go about the relevant officers that continued with processing the payments to Medicare 24? Now, I want to go as far as saying they should pay back the money from their own pockets, because now it's 30 million rands down the drain. I think after tonight's examples by the Honorable Shongwe, Honorable James, etc., imagine that 30 million being pushed into an anti-gang unit, for example. It's a very simple comparison that I'm making. When exactly did you receive the recommendation that that Medicare contract should be stopped?
It was somewhere, I think, must be beginning April, or somewhere there.
Now, who else in senior management was informed that the Medicare 24 contract should be halted?
Well, obviously, I'm sure the head of supply chain would have been informed, and the head of support services should have knowledge of that, and form part of that meeting.
General, I want to just shift slightly sideways to Mr. Kat Matlala. You, prior to these hearings, just to, again, for the record, had you ever met with Mr. Matlala?
No.
Not. And that includes obviously socially, privately.
Yeah, no.
At your office, etc.
But what I'm saying is, when it comes to photos, I don't know. Many people take photos with me. I don't know them. So, but me meeting him, I've never at any given time.
Fair enough. Yeah. And then I want to move on slightly. I might come back to Mr. Matlala again later. When we move to the issue of senior ranks, and I want to again come to the complacency issue regarding discipline. There's serious concerns that we've raised. One of them being, I've been speaking on it before, but as a committee, we raised the issue at the police committee of Lieutenant General Mboto. And I know he's at the DPCI, but for that matter, I can reference the sons of Richard Mdluli. Honorable Shongwe mentioned Richard Mdluli. Now, last year, already former Minister Nkunu acknowledged, he then said there would also be an audit of family members, etc., in the crime intelligence environment. And I have it on good authority that even up until today, Richard Mdluli's son or sons is still operating in the crime intelligence environment. How do we resolve this? Because I honestly, General, we've mentioned this in the portfolio committee. I've asked questions in Parliament. Several members in the portfolio committee sitting on this committee have also asked the same questions. How do we get resolved? Please advise me.
Well, the first resolving of the matter is firstly to transfer those people out of crime intelligence, deal with them wherever they are, if there is any misconduct in how they got into the organization, which that can be done now, because remember I said it did indicate that there is this transformation strategy with myself and the acting minister are implementing around crime intelligence, which he wants that we implement by 1st of the new financial year, which is 1st April. So as we finish, part of it is some transfers of people from that environment, start afresh altogether.
So I want to zoom in on that a little bit more. You'd remember the story with General Mboto when he was still a SAPS member before he went to the DPCI. He was moved for sharing all sorts of interesting videos and photos on a WhatsApp group. I think it was in FCS in the Western Cape, if I'm not mistaken. And I remember General Libya said to us that, you know, it's not a punitive disciplinary process. My problem with this is during the same time period, there were really serious allegations, affidavits, investigations regarding interference of serious gang arrests in Cape Town, interference of, I think there was one member that was on an Interpol red list who also interfered. Now, my problem with the transfer, I understand the way you've described it now. My problem with some of these transferred, like with General Mboto, is he's basically been promoted. He had a break during his suspension. It was more of a sabbatical. And then he was able to just continue in the DPCI. And the irony is not so much from him, but every time one of us says something like this, we usually get some kind of a lawyer's letter. But the truth hurts. How do I navigate this? I know I'm putting you in a tight spot, but can we expect any kind of resolve with someone like General Mboto? Yeah, the Honorable Shongwe mentioned General Khan. Today, there are lots of photos on X doing the rounds of General Khan in the vicinity with the alleged shooter of one of the Madlanga witnesses. You know, it's becoming very, very difficult as to who do we trust? Because us as MPs, I know the Honorable James, I think she drives some police members nuts because of the rate at which, and I say this tongue in cheek, Darlene, but at the rate at which she calls some of these members. But General, humor us. How do we navigate this? I honestly don't know. I mean, General Mboto, we've been speaking about it a lot. General Khan, the amount of times that General Khan has come up in this committee alone, him and General Moodley, and they're still comfortably in SAPS. And respectfully, there's no ways that any general can drive Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and all of these sorts of things on a major general salary. It's physically impossible.
Yeah, thanks, Honorable Member, Honorable Chair. Those that, of course, I'm responsible for, I will make sure that as we implement this transformation with the Minister, we take care of them. General Mboto, in terms of discipline, is a bit distance away from me in terms of the law that you know. I can't venture into that environment. Sometimes also get frustrated, but I will raise it with the Minister, and I'm sure either me or him will give yourself feedback.
Thank you. Thank you, General. I think, Chair, if you permit us, I will write a list of these things, and possibly through the committee, we can send a formal request. General, are you comfortable with authorizing an independent audit of crime intelligence appointments between 2010 and 2025?
2010 and 2025.
I'll tell you why, rather. The independent audit, the idea is that we can get, even if it's a body like SIU, I think I trust the way SIU operates, specifically with a focus on nepotism, irregular promotions, and most of all, integrity vetting. Can we do that?
Okay, with those. Yeah, no, I'll check with my legal, I'm sure. It's something that I will come back to you.
Okay, I'll add that. General, in terms of the I'm deciding where to go next. I've got a lot of questions and I don't want to waste too much time. I want to understand in terms of IPID. The committee has heard extensive evidence about IPID's incapacity, or rather incapacitated state, including its reliance on SAPS for analytical capacity and forensic services. Do you accept that an oversight body which depends on SAPS to investigate SAPS is structurally compromised?
Well, up to so far, I I'm not aware of any compromise, and I think they've been getting the best service. But however, as they are independent, by nature of their name, they're independent. They can probably be fully independent even with regard to forensic services.
Okay. What would your recommendation be to make IPID genuinely self-sufficient so that it does not rely on SAPS to investigate SAPS? How do you think that should be done?
Yeah, I would, it's quite a difficult one. I would say maybe they have a separate forensic capability, which they will be assisting of them, standing independently. So I think possibly that's the way to go, Chair.
Okay.
Because using private forensics might just pose a challenge for when you go for court purposes, but they can start something independently.
Okay. General, something just came to mind. I'm thinking now about the matter regarding General Shabiri and all the noise we've seen around the Madlanga Commission with General Shabiri. Now, from what I understand, there's been movement from the police in KZN, if I'm not mistaken. No, sorry. That is in terms of the Hawks Head in KZN specifically, where SAPS have approached, investigated, seized cell phones, etc. Am I correct?
Correct, yes.
Why can the same not be done on a national level by SAPS with regards to someone like General Patrick Mboto?
Do what with him, maybe?
Well, I think as a start to do a proper search and seizure operation. I'm broadcasting it to the country now, so it could be slightly more challenging. But I mean, there's more than enough people that were previously willing to testify, speak. I mean, I know of ground level cops in Cape Town alone that would testify very easily to this day. Why can the same not be done? Why can't SAPS on a national level decide to zoom in on a specific leader in the DPCI, for example, if they see that there's non-action from the DPCI itself? I mean, General Labia did little or nothing to resolve this, just played it down. Is there a possibility that SAPS could actually do that? Can we add that to the list to get an opinion on?
Well, in terms of if there is any criminal allegation, yes, we can investigate, but misconduct is a no. It's the national head that must deal with matters of misconduct of DPCI. But if there is allegation of criminal, we can investigate.
Okay. General, I've just got 2 or 3 more questions. There's one specific one, also with regards to General Fannie. It was a contract that I could find out. I tried to look it up as well, of 70 million rand that was given to a company called Beyond Forensics without going out on tender. Do you know anything about this? Is that another thing we need to flag for further investigation?
Beyond forensics, you say? Yeah, no. I hear the name for the first time, Chair, through you. I will inquire into it, or you can include it in the list that you're gonna send to me.
Okay, thank you, General. Chair, we will add that to this. I will set up a short document with everything in it. General, 1 or 2 last questions, and then I will be finished. I just want to confirm for the record, no further payments have been made to Medicare 24 after the contract was stopped, after that that last 30 million rand.
As far as I know, not Honorable Chair through you, but however, take note if there is a service that they provided previously, which was not invoiced by law, we supposed to pay that. But as far as I know, not. and I'll go and further inquire further.
Okay. I want to ask you the Sunday of the press briefing by General Kunazi about I can't remember exactly, the Wednesday or the Thursday before. There were rumors doing the round of a warrant of arrest for General Kunazi, yourself. I think General Kumalo was also on there. Do you know about this? I know there was also, you'd remember we spoke about it in the previous time that you joined us here. We spoke about one of the news articles. I remember the one that said you were crying in your office or something like that. Now, the short time that I've known you, General, you don't strike me as a crying man. So this isn't to cast doubt on you, but did you know about those rumors at that stage? And do you have more information on that?
No, I didn't have any other information except those rumors that we have seen. And when they say I was crying in Pretoria, I was here in Cape Town.
Yeah, I remember.
Yes. So,
in fact, we saw you in Mitchell's Plain on the day on one of those days with the minister.
Yeah. Yes.
General, one last question, and Chair, then I'll finish. You previously spoke to us and you said there is a cartel, or there are cartels within SAPS, specific members that, especially from a CI point of view, have infiltrated and aim to tarnish the names of certain senior members. You've previously spoken about it, about WhatsApp messages. We spoke about information peddlers before. There's a whole list of things. Have you since then determined, if you're able to share on this platform, who those individuals are? We've been flooded by information over the last, let's say the last year almost, after all of this has started. Have you got any indication why? And then I think to add on, I want to reiterate what the image looks like from the outside. So in theory, or the theory with this whole conflict, there was also a rumor, a theory doing the rounds that General Sibiya would become the national commissioner when you were arrested. General Khan would become either divisional commissioner or deputy national commissioner, but would essentially have control over crime intelligence. Minister Mchunu would be in line for his political career and campaign forward, whatever that entailed. That's the reason for asking this. This is the reason for the factional discussions that we've been having. The image that was created is that there's the Sibiya group and there's the Masemola group on the one side. Can you speak to us on that in closing? Have you identified who some of these people are that have been out to tarnish names?
Thanks, Honorable Chair. Yeah, through identification of those people, some of them has been dealt with. They are no more in the service, but there are still those that are left, which we are embarking on processes of cleaning up. We'll, of course, during the cleanup of the crime intelligence, we'll also deal with that. And those rumors, I also had them. Those rumors. They'll come out maybe at Madlanga Commission, I don't know. But yes, one did hear of those rumors, and they only ended up in that fashion, the way they were. So I can't say more, except that, yes, in terms of rotten potatoes, they are there. And the objective of all these noises is that shift the people so that we can be in charge and continue with the damage that they want to cause to the environment.
Chair, I see I have 3 minutes left, so I'm going to make use of the 3 minutes. General, if you could do one thing to really, I'm going to say it, but it's Chair, bear with me. But I almost wanted to say to kick them in the arses, but to chase away the bad and the criminal elements in SAPS overnight. First of all, where would you start, and how would you do it? How do you think we should clean up? We're asking you as the national commissioner, How do we clean up SAPS?
Well, first, I would say I will start there, where the crime intelligence from there move over to the other divisions. One of the things, the quickest way is to approach people to leave the organization. Because if you start opening cases, chasing, it becomes sometimes a long chase, or you can get the person out, and there's arbitrations and courts, and some end up coming back. It's just to identify people, ask them to leave, in terms of to say, well, I'm restructuring, we're reorganizing, so can you, some of those just give way, and you screen other people. Nobody's born on the job. You train the people, and slowly they will get some point, they'll end up getting experience, other than sitting with figures that are causing more damage or harm than good to the organization, and hampering service delivery every moment of the way.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you very much, General Masemola.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. General,
Honorable.
when you hear the reports that somebody was compiling dockets and then presenting them to your police officers to sign them, some of these things might not have happened during your leadership of the SAPS. What has been your reaction to that?
Yeah, thanks, Honorable Chair. It is wrong. You can't compile a docket and take it to a police station. You go to a police station to make a report, and the police will assess whether what you are saying have got elements of crime, and they will then open a case. That is totally wrong. I will circulate a memo to that effect, that such things should not be allowed to happen.
But did you have interest to check who are the police officers who would have been involved in such practices?
Yeah, one will check, even to check which police stations are those, and engage further as to those station commanders, as to why are they doing it. And if there is wrongdoing, take steps with on those people.
And then Mr. O'Sullivan, when he was here, he said he previously paid for the trip of one of your police officers to Europe. Have you heard about that statement or that testimony?
No, it never come to my attention, Honorable Chair. We have a lot of things to do, but that one.
He mentioned the name of Brigadier Kininda, that he went with him to Europe, and Mr. O'Sullivan was the one who was paying the expenses for that trip.
Okay. No, we'll inquire into that, Chair. We always pay for our own members if they are going on an official trip.
Yeah, it was said by Mr. O'Sullivan here that honorable members were probing him as to why would he do that? Does that not amount to the capture of the police service? Because the picture is even there, I think, in one of the books, going by the title, Catch Me If You Can.
Mm.
I'm just saying, in your position as a leader of the SAPS, you must take much interest. I hear you, the way you responded to the first question. when I ask you, say, when we go back, we will circulate a memo to all officers to know that nobody can come here having compiled a case. And the police officers just put signatures and maybe even stamps. I'm just saying that that may not be the only case. There may be many other cases which must be to your interest as the leadership of the SAPS, so that it does not become free for all. And maybe if you were to get those details and understand what the trip is all about, what was all about, and why Mr. Paul O'Sullivan had to pay for that trip.
Yeah, and whether, because there should be approval, it can't just happen without approval. We'll go deeper into those details, Chair.
And then Mrs. Mashale, when she was here, she spoke about several cases. Number one, she alleges that there is a case of rape against Brigadier Makalake's son in the Free State. And no action is being taken by the SAPS.
It will be investigated, Chair, and we'll see exactly what happened there.
You have written it down.
Yeah, no, I did write.
Number two, she says that there is a potential witness who claims to have been involved in the murder or the murders of the case in a Friede, if you know the Friede farm story.
Yeah, the dairy farm.
Yeah, in the Free State. And that witness is prepared to cooperate with the police and give them details of what would have happened to the victims. And that witness is not being given that opportunity, but furthermore, is also incarcerated unlawfully because he has not been charged for these murders. Yeah, I think she might have said the person is in Kronstadt or elsewhere. And sometimes the person may be moved around from one prison to another.
Okay.
And then there is a case of, I can't remember if it's a general, one general from the Northwest in Stilfontein. General, is it Mbatu? Who was suspended, yes, General Mbatu, who was suspended from the SAPS since 1991.
No, he's a sergeant or warrant officer, Mbatu, Honorable Chair.
Yeah.
I know about the case.
You know about the case?
Yeah.
Is it still ongoing?
No, there's no case. It was finalized. He was arrested many years ago for possession of some gold or diamonds.
The detail is that he was arrested at Stilfontein, and then he was suspended since that time in 1991, and the case is still unresolved.
No, the case was resolved, Honorable Chair, but we'll report it to you so that with all the details. As far as I remember, he was arrested. The then Police Act was saying if you get arrested, I think without option of a fine, you are automatically dismissed from the service. So that section applied to him. And then
Okay.
later he was released, finished his sentence. But what is strange enough, his records of prison are nowhere to be found. And somehow his records at SAPS headquarters about this specific matter also can't be found. But people know exactly what happened.
Yes.
But we will send a report to that effect.
The former NDPP, Advocate Batoy, and General Kumalo, when they appeared before us, they said one reason why the SAPS is unable to succeed in high-profile cases is often because you have parallel teams investigating, and Advocate Batoy even gave an example of the Senzo Meyiwa case, that there were parallel teams investigating that matter or that case, working against each other. And the question is, how does it arise that the SAPS under your leadership, Tau, can have multiple teams working in rivalry, but investigating one case?
Thanks, Chair. Well, that matter, I think, is more matter of Meyiwa. It was during my time, the previous National Commission. I found those teams there, which I listened to both. And eventually I spoke to the NPA, and we said the current case that you see in court should proceed. So, but these matters that we will always guard against, that it shouldn't happen.
Yes, because
two teams doing one and the same.
What they were essentially saying impliedly is that from your own officials, there is more than sufficient interest in those cases. The interest that goes into those cases goes beyond the SAPS. It's not just about investigating what happened. It may include, by implication, things like intention to cover up and make sure that some information disappears or is not presented before competent authorities for adjudication. And it's very sad if that was to be true. I'm not saying it's true. That is what has been implied here, that the reason why you can't succeed in those key cases is because of the rivalry, internal rivalry. Once a case is opened, there will be so many hands and there will be so many bodies around that case.
Yeah, no, thanks, Chair. Currently, as far as my knowledge is concerned, we don't have that, but I know in the Meyiwa case, there was such, and it has since stopped. There is no more. It's only one team. But in other areas, we will cut against that.
Yeah, but
because
the Senzo Meyiwa case, because it's a case of national interest, have you checked if indeed there was that misconduct on the part of the SAPS, which would have contaminated the case? People who are not supposed to be there, they involve themselves there. Would you have checked that?
Thanks, Honorable Chair. No, I didn't. It's a very old case. It's running at court now. The scene was an old scene. A lot of national commissioners passed around that. So definitely give me the opportunity. I'll go and reflect on the matter and check exactly whoever went there, what role they played. I don't think that was ever investigated.
Yeah, because remember, one of our pillars is to check if there is corruption within the SAPS, and if there are people who will involve themselves in cases to make sure that prosecution does not succeed. That amounts to corrupt activities. And then General Kumalo, when he was here, he said to us that there was a case of a consignment that was transported from Durban to Soweto. And because this is confidential information that could not be publicly disclosed, he could only make confirmation that it was indeed true that there were police officers who were involved in the transportation of that consignment. And further, that the leadership of the SAPS knows about that. And lastly, that those officers are still in the employ of the SAPS.
Thanks, Honorable Chair. I'll talk to him about this one because I don't know the details of it. So I'll engage him and thereafter take action on the other matter.
Mm. And then the other case is the case that Honorable James asked you about, the three officers who were here, Malachi, Ramalepe, and Ramolobe, who also made very serious allegations.
Yeah, thanks. On that one, Chair, I think I did indicate that I got feedback from the people who were investigating the matter last week, Thursday, and I've tasked them to go and do certain matters, certain implementation. Some of the matters of the complaints were resolved. Some implementations were done, but there are those matters that we can't, up to so far, the team couldn't trace whether was the rectification yes or no. So I says, no, go and do it. If there is a need to rectify, you do it. That is the team of the inspectorate. But what I said is I have not yet given these three. I haven't met them. I haven't given them feedback. I will see them this week or next week to give them a progress report. That matter is not finalized because we are going to trace some of those that in the report, there's been many investigations. In the report, there are those that are finalized, but there are those that we can't see whether they are finalized or not. So that progress will be attended.
And the case of the disappearance of Mr. Jerry Bushoka.
Yes, Honorable Chair.
Where is it?
Honorable Chair, this case is still under investigation. The team, GC Ops, is investigating the case. There has been some leads at some point, and they didn't come right, but we have an indication where he might be. So, and that is being investigated. So,
Yeah, you know, I'm listing all this. These matters have been presented before us, and you might have heard honorable members also raised some more. I'm listing them because this is the last time you are appearing before us in this ad hoc committee. And tomorrow, General Mkhwanazi will be the last witness to to appear before us. And when these matters were raised, they generated a lot of public, but not only public interest, but also raised questions about the SAPS.
Okay, sure.
And maybe what we can do, because what is important here ultimately is that we should restore public confidence
Correct.
in the SAPS, that it can take their matters serious. But also ourselves as Parliament, we are obligated by law to demand accountability from yourselves, including other matters that Honorable Cameron would have raised. He said he's going to submit more. I think where you are sitting, it will be advisable for you to say to us, maybe before the lifespan of this committee comes to an end, I have taken down all the issues that all the cases that you have raised. And then we will respond to you in writing and give you an update on where we are on these matters. If there are issues, we have always been very guarded. Even in our terms of reference, we have said any information that is protected by law, if it has to be given to the committee, that will be done in compliance with the law that is in place. Stay in our terms of reference. If there is any evidence that you think, if you give us, may compromise or jeopardize your investigations, you can always find a way to explain, to say, this case, this is where we are. We may not be able to divulge the rest of the details because we think the case may be jeopardized. But what is very important is we're raising this so that even beyond the lifespan of this ad hoc committee, the relevant portfolio committee of police must continue to get updates on these matters, on how they are being dealt with.
Okay, no, thanks, Honorable Chair. I think one will do, as you say, we'll go and do follow-ups on progress on each matter, and we'll then be able to send this committee, we still there, or the police committee, the progress in terms of where we are on each matter. That will be that will be in order, Chair, be accounting. Thank you.
Let me ask you this last question. You know, before the Ad Hoc Committee was established and before the Madlanga Commission was appointed, we did not hear the testimonies that we are hearing now about your subordinates. And for sure you can agree with me that some of the details when they come out are very chilling. When you watch on television, you see us sitting here with a witness, or at the commission, the witness making confessions or being unable to respond to questions. Has it not occurred to you previously that some of this information happened to drop in your ears? That there may be a commander or what, General Khanyan somewhere doing XYZ, which is illegal. Or the whispers, if you go to a funeral at Masemola in Limpopo, and one of the monarchs just grab you by the hand and goes aside and say, General Masemola, there are many things which are happening. We think you must know about them. Haven't you heard whispers about these wrong practices prior to the advent of the Ad Hoc Committee or the Matanga Commission?
Thanks, Honorable Chairperson. Some of them, yes, one did hear about them. And I initiated the investigation. Most matters, the reason why they ended up being members moving from KwaZulu-Natal to come to Gauteng to do investigations. There is quite a list of investigations that those members were coming to do. And it is for that very reason that you see the success that we have end up now having people behind bars, that people that would have regarded themselves as untouchable. So yes, we do that. And where there is, we pick up something, let's say within our own, actions do get taken. The fact that they were reported here is not to say some of them were never into our focus. They were under investigation. That's why I supported the team.
Yeah.
I am the one that approved that, yes, that for objectivity, let scared people from KZN come to Gauteng to come and investigate certain matters that seems to be a problem around Gauteng. So
I'm saying that these allegations are about some of your senior officials that you were probably seeing them or meeting with them every day or even sharing entrance and exit doors at work.
Those that comes to my ear, Chair, I initiate investigation. We have, like you have seen, some that has happened. If it comes to ear that there is this wrong, I do initiate investigation. We don't just leave
Okay,
it.
when you look at not yourself per se, but the institutional response of the SAPS, will you say it was timeous? Or were there considerable delays in reacting to these matters, these allegations?
Some of them, I would say, there's been considerable delay, yes. But the other issue is, when did we as subs become aware of? Because some of these things, we keep aware of them now. And people will tell you, but this is not a new thing. This thing is an old matter, but it never came to our attention. So when it comes to our attention, we do act.
Yeah, because when the ad hoc committee started, we saw a lot of movement, which was not there before. What explains that?
Well,
all of a sudden, decisions we see agility, we see decisive action on the part of the leadership to say so and so is now on suspension, so and so has been arrested. A case like this one has now been cracked. Why?
Well, in terms of criminal cases, Honorable Chair, as I explained before, it's because there has been some acceptance from and more improved cooperation from other arms of the state, like your NPA. And in terms of internal investigations, some of these matters, we did not want to rush to do them departmentally before we make a breakthrough criminally. There's quite a lot which one would not really want to say it. It's quite a number of them that we said this will disrupt, but let's do first criminally, and then we will get to the departmental. So that was the plan. but things have changed the way they changed, and the approach is a bit different.
The possible vacancies in the position of the national head of the Hawks and the police commissioner. Do they have potential to solicit misguided ambitions from your colleagues? If somebody had to know that Masemola will be leaving in the next 6 months or in the next 2 years, or General Levia is leaving now, such opportunities, such vacancies, do they have potential to solicit uncontrollable ambitions?
They do, Honorable Chair. They go out, they lobby, they do all sorts of things.
And we may end up having wrong people in those positions if there is no due diligence and careful consideration.
Yeah, if there is no careful consideration, yes, you will end up with wrong people, or you will end up with cartel. Yes, it's possible.
I saw Honorable Skosana and Honorable Mathis have raised their hands. I'm exercising benevolence because in any way your time is gone. Can I take you in that order?
Thank you, Chair. I guess one has forgotten to, I know perhaps this does not belong here. I just want to make a disclaimer, Chair, and to General Masemola. You know, there's an issue about izingwenyama okumgani. They feel that obviously they think that the police perhaps are the one who are responsible for their safety. They've asked us to ask the general, hence I'm making a disclaimer that perhaps as lawmakers, you might refer it back to us, that there's only one Kumgani which is well looked after. Because in all the, I'll say in all the provinces, kunenkumgani, kunamakhosi, kunengwenyama, so to speak, not necessarily makhosi, ingwenyama zala oma area. So what they've seen, they say, but we must ask the general. I said, well, perhaps it's a right platform to ask you. I know I'm putting you into a corner with this one, because they are saying there's only one, and they feel that they need to have as well some security, especially going to the next local government election. And that would be my comment to, in fact, not necessarily a question, Chair, to General Masemola. Thank you.
Let's take Honorable Mathis, and the General will respond.
Oh, thank you, Chair. Mine is not a question, but just 2 follow-ups that I think we should do as a committee. When the head of IDEC was here, we didn't ask specifically whether IDEC had obtained warrants of arrest for our National Commissioner. So I think we must write and get clarity whether they did or whether they didn't. I don't think it should be a secret if they had received one or if they hadn't, but if we can write to that. And then the second follow-up would be that Lieutenant General Khumalo must retract his statement that he made here in the committee that 90% of Gauteng SAPS is corrupt, just so we can have it on record, because as the record stands now, that is what he said, and he's the head of crime intelligence. So if we can do that. Thank you, Chair.
So, General Masemola, you said that you were going to discuss that matter with General Khumalo.
Correct, Chair. I thought he's coming back here, so he's
Yeah,
gonna
he's
talk on
not
it.
coming back,
Okay.
and you and him have now contradicted each other.
Okay, no, I will,
So when you go back from here, you go and discuss with him. He gives you the report. And then from there, when you have got an explanation, he must then write to us and retract that statement on the basis of the explanation that he would have given you.
okay, thanks, Honorable Chair. I'll do so, engage you.
So that if we happen to call you again, you and him must come and speak one thing. Because now you have not said the same thing.
Correct, Honorable Chair. No, we'll do that. On the matter raised by Honorable Skosana, well, I think it's the matter that belonged to somewhere in another committee. But just to correct him, it's not it's not one king being protected, it's two kings that are being protected. But yeah, it's a matter that our department and the traditional affairs is seized with, and we will see how it is finalized as we move forward. Thank you.
Advocate Arensa.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, members. General Masemola, is it the case that and here I'm referring to the Medicare 24 contract, that SAPS didn't receive any value for money for the 30 million that was spent?
No. We did receive value for money, Honorable Chair. The students that did graduate in December, they are a product of that. So we did receive value. Thank you.
So it can't be described or defined as wasteful, fruitless and wasteful expenditure as defined in the PFMA?
No, it don't fit that description, because we did get value. Well, of course, after fights, it wasn't a smooth sail. There has to be a fight to get the service, and we did get service and value. It can't be described as fruitless and wasteful. No.
Now, would it be fair to say that up until the time that Minister Mkhunu raised the issue of the contract or the unlawfulness, or at that time the alleged unlawfulness of the contract, when he raised it on the 24th of December 2024, it wasn't something that concerned you, the issue of the award of a contract?
No, I didn't have any issues on it. And of course, remember, Honorable Chair, I'm not aware of all these contracts that are being signed. There are various people that are working in that environment. So yes, I wasn't aware of any problem or wrongdoing. The only area I became aware of is an issue of service delivery. They did indicate to me, and I said, then they must meet the service provider and deal with the matter, which they did meet and dealt with the matter.
Did you know that the Minister Mkhunu was going to raise it in the meeting on the 24th? Did he tell you in advance, or did he just call you to a meeting?
No, he did indicate that he wanted us to meet, and we meet on that specific matter.
Because the News 24 reported on the contract on the 20th of December already. Okay. Did you see it? Did you read the article and the allegations made about Kat Matlala and the fact that he was a beneficiary?
No, I didn't see it.
So you agree that if Minister Nkunu did not raise this issue, the contract may well not have been set aside or cancelled or terminated?
Well, it could have been that possibility, or somebody could have raised it, because normally our communication raise those they do flag those matters as and when the days. Once a week, we have a meeting where they raise those things.
So after Minister Nkunu raised the issue of the contract, and by the way, was General Fannie in that meeting?
Correct.
Since he indicated he was going to raise the issue.
Yes. Yeah.
What was General Fannie's view? What did he tell you? Did you ask him and say, look, this is now being raised for the minister? What do you say?
Well, the agreement at that meeting was that, well, they know about the contract, they don't know about any of the irregularities. And I said, okay, now we're going to, I'm going to put internal audit to audit the contract.
So at that point, certainly, General Fannie was still defending the contract and that it was lawfully awarded.
Yeah, no, they did say that as far as they know, the process was correct.
Because that was also his approach before this honorable committee when he gave evidence. He insisted that he didn't see anything wrong with the award of the contract. But it's only when my colleague, who's sadly no longer with us, Ms. Sikalala, Advocate Sikalala, was leading his evidence, when she raised several aspects that's in the internal audit report, which showed the flaws in the process, which in terms of that report didn't have anything to do with Mr. Matlala. They were just shortcomings in the usual bid evaluation, bid adjudication process. And he subsequently had to concede that the process was flawed. Did you read the internal report yourself, the audit report?
Yeah, I did read it, Honorable Chair.
So the report seems to, if General Fannie is the person responsible for the award at the end of the day, just following on a question, I think Honorable Cameron or one of the other members may have also asked, why has no action been taken, departmental action taken against General Fannie?
I did say, Honorable Chair, that there is currently investigation pending against him. One's supposed to look all the other members, but what I was saying is the advice that I got is let's get the risk forensic investigation report first. But there is investigation current as you speak against the regulator.
Thank you. There were 3 members of South African Police Union. They may be, well, both of Pop Crew and SAPO, who testified here jointly, 3 of them, Ramolepi, Ramolobi, and Malachi. You recall those names? I think you may have even had a meeting with them. They made some serious allegations. And they were all in the forensic science services section. Theft of drugs, I'm just looking at the affidavit, theft of drugs at the lab, theft of rhino horn, sexual harassment, irregular appointment, irregular payment of scarce skills allowance, maladministration and victimization. And in fact, almost out of desperation, they came here because this is what they said in their affidavit.
Can I comment?
That yeah, now I'm going to give you an opportunity to comment. They, it was after the press conference of General Nkonazi on the 6th of July that they decided to request to appear before this honorable committee. Now, there's a letter. There's a letter. No, where's the letter where General Nkonazi, Masemola? You may recall that you had appointed General Jacobs to do an investigation into these allegations. And the report has been finalized on the 31st of October last year. And I had requested Major General van Rooyen to make the report available to us. Okay. We haven't received it because, as she described it, you were waiting for input from other sections or divisions. Okay. This is the letter that you wrote on the 18th of July last year. Complaints against South African Police Service, victimization, Division Detectives and Forensic Services. On the 16th of July 2025, the National Commissioner met with the officers from Forensic Services, Colonel Ramalobi, Captain Ramalepi, and Captain Malachi from Legal Services. The above complainants allege victimization as they are denied legal protection for being whistleblowers in a 2011 case, which led to dismissal of one senior officer within Forensic Services. The complainant further alleges they lodged grievances which they not handled accordingly. In addition, the complainants allege non-accountability of exhibits within the component. It is on this note that Lieutenant General Jacobs is requested to establish a team to investigate the above allegations. The complainants allege to have evidence in support of the allegations, which is in 2 lever arch files, and we were advised to hand such files to you. It is advisable that you and the identified investigating team members to engage with the above complainants. It would be appreciated if the consolidated report could reach the office of the National Commissioner on or before the 30th of August 2025. And this is your letter addressed to Major General Sabola, the Divisional Commissioner Inspectorate. Now we know that the report has been finalized. Is there any reason other than the reasons that Major General van Rooyen gave us why the report is not available? Or can you tell us what's in the report?
Thanks, Honorable Chair. As I indicated earlier, the report has been finalized. I have considered the report. The team of, actually General Jacobs ended up not doing it, but it was General Hanker that did that. They briefed me about the report. That's where I said this specific matter was investigated more than 5 times since its inception from 2011. Some of those matters has been resolved. Some are outstanding. Some we don't know whether they were attended, yes or no. But however, I said the current team of inspectorate that were assisting me, they must go back because it's investigation on top of investigation. They must go back, verify. I know there is somebody who is in prison for stealing drugs and right on, or the person is out by now, which means there were consequences. But some of the matters, and there was that senior manager talk of was disciplined and dismissed from the service. And subsequently, the person went through arbitration, CCMA, whatever, and is back at work. But some of those matters, I'm saying, we can't detect whether there were any finality in it. And so hence I said to the team that briefed me last week that they implement corrective measures on this same report. So the report that I considered, I can make it available to you as early as by tomorrow.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, General. I think that will be much appreciated, because from a whole line of questioning from the honourable members, there's a concern about there not being any what they call consequent management.
Okay.
There seems to be no repercussions. Wrongdoing is reported, even investigated, like in this case. But what is anybody being held to account? Because these three officers, they had also made allegations against General Pashlani at the time, because they were in Forensic Services Division, and he actually sued them successfully for defamation. So their complaint is also that when they wanted to challenge the decision, and apparently they did appeal, because I think a monetary amount was awarded to General Pashlani. So the case is probably still on appeal, but they weren't getting any assistance from SAPS.
Well, every case, Honorable Chair, gets looked at to its own merit, whether you qualify for legal assistance, yes or no. And if you don't qualify, there is no way you can make it that you qualify. So probably that's one of the matters. But however, the crux of the whole investigation, as I said, some matters have been dealt with. Some, I don't know whether they were dealt with, because this matter comes from 2011. So hence I said this team must now go into this matter and rectify everything that is in there. Because even them, some of them, they are accused of whatever. But it will be part of the whole investigation. But I will make that report to you by tomorrow.
Now, talking about legal fees, not our legal fees, but legal fees, General Vuma had complained about how long it took for her to be suspended, and then eventually she retired. Now, the reason appears to be that the issue was about the IPID subpoena. And she certainly was of the view, I'm not sure whether she took legal advice, was this subpoena is not valid and she is not going to comply. Because I think that is what you charged her with subsequently, for failing to comply with the IPID subpoena.
Correct.
So that case took 2 years. That's why it ended up in the Constitutional Court. Well, the Constitutional Court wasn't a case. There was an application from the Supreme Court of Appeal for leave to appeal, because there's no automatic right of appeal to the Constitutional Court. So they applied for leave to appeal, and that was dismissed. And I think subsequently, you then suspended her. So the question is, that case involved SAPS versus IPID. Presumably, SAPS paid the legal expenses for those cases in the High Court, the Supreme Court of Appeal, and then an application for leave to appeal to the Constitutional Court.
Correct.
And then, quite frankly, all that happened afterwards, General Vuma suspended, and eventually she's retired. Those legal costs have not been recovered or recouped.
Well, determination will be done, Honorable Chair, and if she found to be liable, not only her, but the others, the recovery process will be undertaken.
Okay. Then I think, again, just arising from one of the questions raised by the honorable members, this is the the return of the dockets and the fact that the dockets, I think it may have been Honorable Member Breitenbach, that the dockets were sort of lying in the office in Pretoria for some 3 months or so. What would these PKTT members have done? The directive came on the 31st of December of 24. The dockets were sent or taken to Pretoria on the 28th of March. And then only subsequently were they returned to their stations in KZN. Are you able to respond, or perhaps it's not a fair question?
What is the question?
PKTT members, what did they do over that period when the dockets were locked away in Pretoria?
Oh, I did answer that question earlier, Honorable Chair. Remember, it wasn't all the dockets. They had dockets that were caught going, they were still running with them, further investigating, going to court and so on. It's not to say they were sitting in
Or presumably they were continuing to do their work because there was a standoff between you and the minister, and you weren't going to immediately disband them. So they may have continued. I'm just trying to find an answer. Maybe have continued working. And they may have even come up with new cases, new dockets.
They were doing work,
Okay.
Honorable Chair. Hence, remember the Mandini case also that added on there.
Yeah.
So they were doing their work with the court-going cases.
Now, you're aware of that IPID had brought a case and had charged General Mkhonazi about those Nagi allegations. I think it's in the Malotswa affidavit. You're aware of that case?
Well, I became aware of it when it was being discussed here, and
When we discussed it with you.
when it was discussed here that there is such a case.
Okay.
But in terms of the matter itself, I knew about the kidnapping. I knew about members of DPCI KZN that they followed, investigated the case to wherever they went, to Mozambique and came back. And but I'm not aware of the physical involvement of General Mkhonazi. However, I'm sure IPID will give me a report to that effect. But yeah, that's how I know.
You don't know where that case is and whether there's been any developments in that case?
I'll inquire from IPID because I heard about the case now recently yesterday. I'll inquire from IPID as to what happened to that case.
Now, just a last aspect for your comment.
But the member, I think the member himself, I think say what Sergeant Mlot also, I think he's on suspension as we speak. There is some departmental case against him for all the things that he was involved in.
Now, given the structure of IPID and IDEC and IPID. The evidence thus far about, and they certainly, Advocate Johnson testified on behalf of IDEC, and we know IDEC arrested Lieutenant General Khumalo based on a complaint or case opened by Honorable Adams. But it seems to me that both IPID and IDEC doesn't inspire much confidence. And given that this Honorable Committee is also looking at restoring trust in our law enforcement agencies. And you acknowledge that they play such a key role in terms of certainly ensuring that South African police services, that their members conduct themselves in terms or in accordance with the rule of law and their code of conduct, etc. So I'm just putting to you that what we've heard thus far doesn't inspire much confidence given what appears to be differences, different groups, whatever you want to call them, factions, groups within the South African police services. Because there seems to be a tendency then to weaponize one against the other, and to do that you use IPID or you use/influence IDEC.
Thanks, Honorable Chair. Well, I think you sum it up. That's the way currently it is.
I mean, we've heard the evidence, and several members of the committee, maybe the entire Honorable Committee, were fairly clear about the use of IPID in the period when Mr. McBride was the head of IPID, and Mr. O'Sullivan played a prominent role in the work that they were doing. Although that was a few years ago, I'm not sure whether the situation has improved. So are there any suggestions that you might make or recommendations that you might make to us, to the Honorable Committee, of how their role could be strengthened?
The one recommendation I can make, which I said earlier, Honorable Chair, is that you can, for now, you have the institution, you have SAPS as an organization, you have IPID, you have IDEC. But if in all these institutions you have members of SAPS right through, you're bound to have a problem. You are bound to have a problem, because if you left SAPS, maybe you hated me and you go to IPID. When you get there, it might be that you find a way to get back to me, or you get to IDEC, same thing will happen. So in other words, in reality, it's three different institutions, or by the look, it's three different institutions. But in actual fact, it's one institution. So then you're going to find that issue of crashes. So that's why I was saying that if maybe the IPID can employ its own employees, train them, same with the IDEC, then it might maybe be a different picture if that's the case. Otherwise, as long as you have one organization.
Yeah, there's no, are you saying there's no true independence? It's all one single organization.
It's like this Ad Hoc Committee,
yeah,
and the Police Portfolio Committee, and let's say Defense or Education. You're all members of Parliament, not so the National Assembly. It's a similar thing. I don't know whether you understand me.
Because it seems to be from the evidence that some people or some officers, either they worked or they were members of SAPS and they go and work for IPID, or vice versa. Or in the case of IDEC, they used to be prosecutors, or they used to work in the National Prosecuting Service. Now they work for IDEC. But their names have cropped up during the course of these hearings, and I'm not going to repeat them or bore them, but that seems to be a weakness.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's exactly what I'm saying. That it's three different institutions, but if you look at majority of the investigators, you will find that All of them are sub-detectives, actually. So they might, I don't say they are not impartial, they are not independent. And not all are from subs. Some are from other government institutions and or the private sector. But majority of law investigators, some of them are former detective members.
Yeah.
So it's bound to have that getting back to some at some point.
Thank you very much, General. Thank you for your attendance, your cooperation with us. Thank you very much. Thank you, Honorable Chair, Honorable Members.
Thanks, okay, Terence. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Advocate Arensa. And thank you so much, honorable members. Ra go leboga tau ya tswako. Honorable members, we are going to start tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Our witness tomorrow is General Mukwanas. We have distributed the documents for tomorrow, and we will also be distributing the responses from the presidency. We received the responses in the afternoon, and when we were supposed to distribute them to you, the officials came back and requested to make improvements or to add additional information to the responses that they have given to us. And then we allowed them to add that additional information so that they become comprehensive. So they have resubmitted, and you will get those responses for you to individually study them and check if all your questions have been answered. We must apologize, General Masemola, that from 20 minutes past 2 until now, we have not given you a break. Honorable members, Honorable Skosana, you want to say something?
Chair, I was just saying that I didn't see the general for lunch. I guess you should invite her for dinner for keeping him for so long. Thank you, Chair.
Did you go there? When you went there, why didn't you invite him?
I've invited him already and his team. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Thank you so much. I know, honorable members, that it is unusual to come to the end of our proceedings at this time of the day. I can see that this is the time when the locomotive gathers more momentum, but unfortunately we have come to the end of the proceedings. I'm going to request you to stand up and leave the chambers. We will meet here tomorrow at 10 o'clock. It's here, Bonanin. Thank you so much.